you all. My name is Carolina La Torre, and I'm the Youth and Academics Lead for Latin America at PMI. I'm very excited to be here with you today to talk about careers in project management, how project skills can support your career development, and also how you can start your own professional path as a project leader. Today, I will start out with a short introduction to my organization, Project Management Institute. Then, I will be joined by the amazing Madeleine Schulz, a successful project manager at PTC with a really interesting background, you will see. We will talk about boosting your early career, how she got started, and how you can do the same. Finally, I will introduce some free career tools from PMI that you can use to plan your career, identify some gaps, and then get started. PMI is the world's leading authority in project management, the organization that sets the standards for the entire profession, and we serve around 3 million project management professionals working in just about every country by providing certifications, community, education, research, and advocacy. PMI is built around the passion and purpose of thousands of volunteers who shape our standards and care deeply about helping others succeed. We drive our work out of hundreds of local chapters to foster community. For more than 50 years, our membership organization has committed to advancing the field of project management. It is our aspiration to not just train the change makers, but to inspire and empower them. At PMI, we say that project management is the professional field for people who want to change the world and now. To be a project manager is to have the creativity, the technical training, and the people skills to come into any complicated situation, bring order to it, and deliver real and lasting results. So, it gives you the opportunity to work in any industry and any kind of project you want, and also to change if you feel that you need a change. And for our experience, we know that not all the people begin as a project manager in their official job title. It is only during the first few work experience that they begin to realize that project management is a critical skill set for their success. And if you think about it, the world will always need people who are not only interested in making a difference, but they have the skills to actually lead action, execute ideas, and deliver change. That is why project managers are in such demand. Basing your career on project management can create a lot of flexibility and diverse options in terms of where you choose to go and what do you want to do. And due to being a skilled profession always in high demand, you will benefit from a higher earning power, seeing salaries that are 78% higher than non-project careers in countries like the US, and with similar percentages around the world. Leaders today agree that project management is critical to business performance and organizational success. To keep up the pace of change in the world, businesses and people are launching projects every day, projects to adapt. Well, it was enough of me talking, and now it is my great pleasure today to introduce Madeleine Schulz, who is a fantastic example of someone whose work in project management has been a central pillar of her career across a massive range of roles. From small startups to large consulting organizations, IT to the automotive industry, to interior design, Europe to Latin America and back again, and incredibly, all of this before the age of 29. So Madeline, welcome and thanks for being here with us. And please tell us, how did you do it? I would love to hear a little bit more about your story and your current role.
Thank you, Carolina, for the invitation. Thanks for having me today. So I was born and raised in Germany in a fairly small village with 3,000 inhabitants. But then quickly discovered my interest for the big wide world, thanks to travels with my parents, some student camps, and also some exchanges that I did all around the world. The last one took me to Ecuador in 2011, where I then discovered my passion for Latin America. So after graduating from high school, I then decided to go back to Mexico, and I did an internship with a German company in Mexico City for a whole year. And that really was my door opener for everything that came afterwards. I was then accepted for a double degree bachelor in international management from the ESB Business School in Reutlingen in Germany, in cooperation with Universidad de las Américas Puebla in Mexico. So the first 2 years I spent in Germany, and I did a mandatory internship at IBM in sales. And then the next 2 years I went back to Mexico and studied at the best university of Mexico, which really fills me with pride. And also during my time in Mexico, I helped to develop a fair trade silver jewelry startup. First, I set up processes in purchasing, and then I was selected as the first social media manager for the startup. I wrote my bachelor thesis at Volkswagen in Mexico on employee motivation and the impact of company training programs. And then after finishing my bachelor's degree, I went back to Germany and got my first job at IBM in Munich in the worldwide headquarters of IoT, Watson IoT. During my time at IBM, I held many different roles and got to travel a lot. For example, I was sent to Australia for a short time assignment, so I was allowed to work with the Sydney-based team for the global channel sales. Other roles also were in in-house consulting, for example, or channel marketing, and then also in IT consulting. And in parallel with my role at IBM, I also completed a master's degree at FOM University in Munich. This was quite challenging. I there specialized in marketing and communication. And after completing my master's degree, I switched to the new work industry and worked as a workspace consultant, developing new work and office concepts for clients all over Germany. And since last spring, I'm back in the IT industry now. And for the first time ever, officially, I carry the role title of a project manager.
Well, Maddie, thanks for sharing. That's an amazing story. And with your experience in Latin America, perhaps we can do the next interview in Spanish, right?
Of course.
So, one of the biggest questions facing young professionals is, with limited experience, how do I take that first step to activate my career? So, a lot of career starters will run into the chicken or the egg problem of entry-level jobs that ask for you to demonstrate experience. So it happened to me, and I'm sure that it also happened to some of the young professionals that are attending to this webinar. So here at PMI, we believe that a few key factors like connecting with mentors early on, or mapping out your career goals, or getting experience to volunteer opportunities may help professionals with these situations. So, Maddie, I'm curious, how did you first get interested in project management?
That's an interesting question. So I think when I was working at IBM, I had many opportunities to develop further. So, for example, including a 6 months sales training, but also badges that we could do in design thinking. And I also started to learn about project management. But if I remember back really carefully, we also had a module on project management already during my bachelor's degree at my university in Mexico. And there, for example, we had to calculate the critical path of a complex project. And I found that very exciting already back then. But then PMI also came into my life. It was around 2.5 years ago. And I was figuring out how to become the PMP certificate of PMI. I did previously to exploring the credentials and everything. I did a lot of coaching sessions to really see what are the areas where I can really flourish. So I quickly realized that I had been unknowingly carrying out the activities of a project manager for already like 5 years or so, even though I did not officially have the title of a project manager. So during the exploration phase of what are the criterias to get the admission for the PMP, I figured out that, and that also really helped me to see myself more as a project manager, go out into the world and say, I'm a project manager.
Yeah, and that's pretty common here in PMI that we hear a lot of project managers that they were like accidental project managers, and they realized that they were project managers after a few years working in projects, but they were not very aware of that. And it is good that in PMI they found that place to get more professional knowledge on that and get all the preparation they need. So it is nice to hear that from your experience, Maddie. And I was wondering, where you were first establishing your career, what do you think were the supports that you find most helpful in that area of project management?
For me, it was always to exchange ideas with like-minded people, but also with those who were already a step ahead of me. For example, during my many internships that I did, I always met many young people and stayed in contact with them. So I could always learn from them and see how their next steps would look like, or what possibilities are out in the market. So I'm also a big fan of networks and networking, of course. This probably comes from my background from ESB Business School in Reutlingen. So my alma mater has a really big alumni association. So since 2013, I'm a member of this alumni association. So here, meetings are always organized all around the world. So wherever you are, theoretically, you can always meet someone from ESB and get in touch with them, talk with them, like what are they up to, and what could your next steps look like. So I think networking and exchanging ideas with other people might be really helpful.
Right, thank you for sharing, Maddie. I believe that it is very important that connection part, right, and that community, the network, and also always thinking in mentorship and asking for help from others that are already being there, right? So it is very important that you had that early in your career with your university. So at PMI, we think that the ideal skill set for a project leader is divided into three categories. So the first one is ways of working. So mastering different methods like agile or design thinking that, for example, you were studying in your previous company, Maddie. The second one is power skills. So which are really about your ability to maintain influence and build teams. These are more like interpersonal skills like leadership, communication, and empathy. And then the last one is business acumen, which means that you have studied and understand the macro and micro influences in the organization and in the industry, and that you have the function-specific or domain-specific knowledge to make good decisions. So, Maddie, I was wondering what skills and certifications do you think are the most important for those entry-level project professionals?
In terms of skills, I would say definitely it's self-leadership and team leadership. And when it comes to leading a team well, then you definitely also need emotional intelligence or at least some empathy. So it's important to put yourself in other people's shoes in order to really understand their needs and thus adapt all the way you work. And thirdly, I think it's important to be structured at the beginning. So time management is definitely also an advantage. And in terms of certifications, here I would say it really depends on the industry and also on the size of the company you're working in, and also how the work is done. Is it more in a waterfall or in an agile kind of manner? But I know that there are many companies out there who require the employees to have certain certifications, and some of them even cover the costs. So generally speaking, I would say no certification will hurt you at all. Better to have any certification than none at all.
I totally agree with you, Maddie, about the certifications. And while there are more general certifications, for example, the Certified Associate in Project Management or CAPM and the PMP, which you can get early on your career, a lot of higher level certifications require you to have a bit more experience under your belt. Now, Maddie, I would like to talk a little bit more about community. You already said something about that, the importance of community in your journey. And community is everything here in PMI, in project management. It is how we stay connected to our work, to our purpose, and how we can make sure that we are finding new opportunities, getting the latest information, and continuously upskilling to stay relevant as professionals. So, Maddie, can you tell us, please, what has been your experience with the PMI community?
So my experience with PMI has really been fantastic. PMI for me is another network I want to nurture. Many of the PMI volunteers have already become friends, and I'm always really, really happy to see them again. I think my involvement with PMI has definitely promoted my career, because it not only changed how my career is perceived from the outside, but also how I perceive it from the inside. So since I am a global volunteer leader in the Next Gen Insight team, I do no longer identify myself only by my job that I have, but realize that I can be so much more.
That's amazing, Maddie. And I heard that from all the volunteers on our PMI community, that some of you said that you can go wherever in the world, that you will find someone that you can call as family, as part of the PMI family. So I'm happy that you also find that in our community. So as you think about leaving this event and going on to think about career planning and how to really activate your impact, I want to introduce you one of our very best resources for rising professionals. Career Navigator is a completely free career development platform for professionals. The platform offers opportunities for comprehensive self-assessment of skills, interests, and goals, while offering an action plan to achieve your objectives. All you have to do is take an online self-assessment quiz, and you will get personalized action items and recommendations for helping you to achieve your career goals. Plus, you can track your progress and get reminders right in the app. So, on the topic of next steps, Maddie, you've clearly had a great start on your career. So, what do you think or you hope is next for you in the world of project management?
So, first of all, I hope that project management will continue to be faithful to me, or maybe much more the other way around. And I also hope that I can be part of PMI for many years. And then I'm curious if project management can also help me to jump into another world, the world of entrepreneurs. Because since I was about 10 years old, I have the dream of building my own hotel. So along with that dream, also some other business ideas came up, which funnily all are related to Mexico. So I would love to do my part to help some people in Mexico or all around Latin America achieve greater opportunities for a better life. And if project management can help me with that, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, sure. And it is nice that you talk about entrepreneurship, because that's a path that we see a lot of project managers going on, right? So, and I think that when you know how to execute ideas, when you have a framework to set up that is ready for that, and that I believe that you are in a great position to start something like a business or a non-for-profit anywhere around the world. So that's good to know, Maddie. and I'm sure that you will have success on your plans. Now, to summarize our conversation today and leave our watchers here with some insight, if you could go back in time to give your younger self a one piece of advice as you began your career, what would it be?
Have faith in what life has planned for you. Keep pushing for your dreams. Never be afraid of anything. Just be who you are. And don't let other people break what you've built for yourself.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Maddie. And again, thank you so much for sharing all your experience, your amazing background, your current thoughts about your future. And thank you all for being here with us. So if you're still watching us, go to pmi.org and start using Career Navigator. I can guarantee that it will help you to plan and advance on your career. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Carolina.